if you want to get ahead of the information curve, learn the news before everyone else, the place to be is often on X. I'm here with Dylan Loomis, your host on Electrified on YouTube, but you're also more active on X. You have the Rebellionaire badge you're rolling with, but also, sharing your opinion. One thing that really drew me to the idea about X today was you're talking about how you're wanting to get friends and family to be using X more so they're a little better informed, because the election was a shock to a lot of people. Most people don't, dive into the craziness that is X. I think there's a chance you could kind of learn about things sooner if you're on X. So what do you think about that, Dylan?
Yeah, it's not even just that it's sooner, but the way I see it, it's almost like if you get your news and you're part of your worldview from mainstream media, you're living in an alternate universe. So there's just so many narratives and headlines that you see on the mainstream media that when you go down the rabbit hole, you quickly learn and you find out, oh, maybe this isn't actually what was said. Maybe there's some context that was left out. And that's why I just would encourage people to go direct to the source. When it comes to food and nutrition, it's like you want to eat the food as close to the source as possible and minimize the processing. And so I personally would rather have source material without any sort of spin or twist or narrative addition. And oftentimes that's what the mainstream media has done. And organizations like Project Veritas have literally sat down and talked with employees at these left-leaning organizations that have outright admitted they're basically a mouthpiece for the Biden-Harris administration. So it's not like it's some conspiracy theory. I mean, it's literally been proven and verified. And I mean, even without that, if you just look at what they say and how they say it, it's pretty clear. So, and it's a personal thing for me. I mean, I have family and friends that watch The View and watch CNN and MSNBC, and you wonder why they think a certain way and feel a certain way. And I just think it's a great litmus test to ask the question, where do you get most of your news? And when they give you your answer, you're most likely going to understand how that conversation is about to go. But yeah, I would just encourage people to check it out, because you really can curate your own playlist, if you will, on X. You can have lists and you can have custom people that you follow. So, they can start following accounts that they maybe agree with, but at least you're going to see more of the communication direct from the source. And there's just so many people reporting citizen journalism that doesn't really make it to the mainstream media. And I just think it's really important to balance out the narratives that are flying around in the legacy media.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing you might be hinting at, but I use something called Twitter Pro, formerly TweetDeck, and essentially you can curate these lists where I think social media can be kind of tough to sort through, where it's all these different topics, one topic after another, and your brain's having to switch the context. That could be kind of draining. I think it's how they hook you to stay interactive. But with Twitter Pro, you can maintain lists of certain voices that you want to hear. You can adjust those lists. So if you no longer like a certain voice, you can get rid of them. You can add new people to a list, and you can mark the column red. So like all of them disappear from that column, and then you can just move on to the next topic, which would be like another column. So this is if you're using it on a laptop or a computer. I've done very well from X and from YouTube. And if it wasn't for creators like Dylan Loomis, like Tesla Daily and Galley of Hyperchange, and all the people on X and YouTube contributing, I wouldn't know all I know about Tesla and about other companies. I just wouldn't have found out the way I found out, or in the time I found out. So I think it's incredibly important. Maybe one of the other things we could talk about is how people are talking about Joe Rogan and how podcasts and long form content is more important now. I would call your new show more long form, even though it's bite sized, like it's a minute and a half to 2.5 minute little bites, but it's long form. And right now X is short form. So I'm curious, like what do you use YouTube for information before we go over to X?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how valuable my answer will be because YouTube right now, I watch a lot of fitness people. I watch a lot of Charlie Kirk on YouTube. I watch some Tesla stuff, but because I'm so plugged in creating my own videos, I don't have as much time to keep up with Tesla stuff on YouTube. But so I would just say it certainly varies and it changes by season, but I do find myself spending a lot more time on X right now because I can get information a lot faster. And I think one of the most underrated aspects is the ability to connect with people. Like,
Oh yeah.
where else in the
Great.
world can you have Elon respond to you or
Uh-huh.
Mark Cuban or, anybody, and to have the ability to maybe get paid if you interact for a long enough time, just sharing your own thoughts and opinions. And not that the average person's going to come to X to build an audience, but the opportunity is there if they want it. But yeah, again, I just think being able to connect with people that you like or look up to and being able to hear some of the leading thought leaders on that platform share their thoughts and to be able to interact with it or have your own thoughts, shared around. It's just a really cool, unique experience. It's obviously growing quickly and gaining a lot more, I think, prominence just looking at the user numbers. So I found myself spending a lot more time on X as of late.
And I feel like you hear about more. So like the mainstream media, you're relying on the talking points memo, focusing on a certain topic if you want to stay in touch with a certain topic or even know about it. Whereas on X, it's not like that. Things come to the surface more. And I know some people worry about misinformation on X, but the truth of the matter is they have something called community notes, where at the bottom of each post, that's what a tweet is called now. At the bottom of each post, if something's wrong about what the person is saying, you can attach a note to it saying, here's why it's wrong. Here's additional context you should have. Or it could say, well, this video is from 2010. It's not related to, what it is. So it's a way to surface a truth, even if it's something you don't agree with. It can be community noted and you'll see what the truth is. What do you feel about the community note system?
Yeah, I think it's a huge deal. I do think people need to always take more responsibility for verifying things. I think that's part of our problem with culture, wherever they're listening to things, is they don't ever really go past the headline or the narrative. It's not that hard to take a piece of information or a post or whatever, plug it into an LLM, whichever one you prefer, and get some different sources on that topic. And then from there, you can just kind of read and see, like, okay, what is factual, what isn't. It may take a little bit more time, a couple of minutes, but if it's something that's important to verify the authenticity of, it's really not that hard to do. I just think most people are lazy and they're just not willing to do that work to verify what's being said, to get the actual data, because it really feels like most people now, they'll read a headline and then run with that narrative without ever fact checking it. And then anytime somebody asks them a question about details about that story, it's like they have nothing. They freeze up because they only read the headline. So I
Mhm.
just think more people should verify on their own.
I also got to think that X is going to be sprinting to add more, to make it better for long form content. Right now the feed is very scattered, where just regular tweets with pictures are mixed in with videos, and you have these uh, audio things called Twitter Spaces, which is like a podcast where you can invite many different speakers to come on. People can ask questions, that kind of thing. What do you think about that opportunity for X to make it a better place, more organized, like have a video homepage, that sort of thing?
They can definitely make improvements, but I've thought about this one a fair amount, and I just think it's going to be hard to change what people go to X for. I think most people go to X for the quick dopamine hit, the quick information. It's more fast paced. There's certainly some people that'll watch videos on X because they want to support the platform, but I'm just not sold it's going to destroy YouTube, as some people like to say. And it may certainly pull some market share over and some viewership away from YouTube. And that's great. I think competition is awesome, but YouTube is just so established, especially when it comes to paying creators specifically for videos. I can
Mm.
attest, like, I'm not expecting X to be competing with YouTube for creator payouts anytime soon. That's just not realistic. If people start spending more time on X actually watching longer form content, because I think the beauty of X is that you can get information so much faster and it's much more condensed because, like you said, it is short form. And I think a lot of people would agree. A lot of videos on YouTube are full of fluff because the longer videos tend to get higher ad revenue. Not always, but that's kind of a general trend. And so you have a lot of creators just trying to extend the length of their videos. I've noticed that for sure. It's just like you said, there's a benefit of being short form, but it would be nice to have both, to have the option. And they'll undoubtedly make that change, make video content easier to find. I think the search feature on X is very poor. But again, it's going to take them time with a small team to change things and figure out where they want to take it. It'll definitely be interesting to watch in the years ahead.
And one thing did change with creator payouts on X. They made it similar to YouTube, where if you have a YouTube premium membership, it doesn't show you ads on YouTube, but it shares a portion of that premium membership with the creator. X has moved toward that on the posts, and I'm guessing they might figure out some way to measure that with video content, where if a verified person is watching your video, you can get a portion of their engagement on the app from that.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a reason to post more on X. Are your
Yeah,
videos on X today, or do you just do highlights?
So I put my electrified videos on X just for subscribers for now. So they're ad free for subscribers. It's been a goal of mine to spend more time on X for a long time. Just with life lately and my focus on YouTube, it hasn't really come to fruition, but I do want to make X a bigger part of what I'm doing in the content creation space. So, because I believe in it, I want to support the platform. I want to get more of my family on X just so they can see perspectives that they're not getting right now. They don't have the full story, and that's the truth.
With all the goodwill that's been created from the election and Elon's involvement, you mentioned that it may be a good time for X to start a referral program. So in 1 minute, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I just think it'd be a cool idea to have some form of incentive for people to maybe share a link or a QR code with family or friends, an easier way to get them to create an account and then pay for premium or premium plus. The only problem is, of course, you're always going to have people that are gaming the system. So they'll set up an account and then pay for it, enter the drawing or whatever it would be, and then cancel it shortly thereafter. But there's absolutely a way that they could figure it out where it makes sense. Even just having a leaderboard where you can go and see, a global or by region of who has referred the most people, that set up the most accounts on X. And again, maybe there's some sort of award that goes out quarterly to these people. I just think it'd be a cool way to incentivize more people to come on the platform, because you can always share posts and stuff with people, but are they going to be incentivized to go further than just reading it? Like, are they actually going to create an account and start using the platform? They might need a little more incentive to do that, but yeah, it'd be cool.
But maybe it could be that both people get a month free, but if you have like certain creators like Dylan Loomis 22 on X, and he gets over a year free, then maybe at a certain point he starts accruing some real money. So
Right. Yeah.
check out our other video where we talk about Tesla and the election and the implications to Tesla. And also, we're going to talk about Elon as a leader in another video, and a little miracle that happened with X, and dive a little more into the X story. Bye for now.